Good morning. How are you today? Today is my birthday. I am 51 years old. And last night I wrote that I was grateful that I had lived 51 years because not everybody gets to do that. So I am so grateful, and I'm grateful to be creating my life more now than maybe I ever have. So, on that note, what I wanted to do today is I want to read something to you, which is why I'm inside and not outside. I could have been outside, but today's my birthday, so I'm inside. I choose to be inside. Anyway, so I've mentioned that I've started doing some serious inner work, and part of the program that I'm doing, hi Lisa, nice to see you. Part of what I'm doing is I was asked to create a morning, thank you Lisa. Yay, it's my birthday. Asked to create a morning and an evening ritual, like a waking and a getting ready for sleep ritual. And it was really hard for me in a way because I have been finding out about myself that I am so rebellious when it comes to setting schedules for myself and maybe even following other schedules, but not so much. Like something about telling myself what to do. I don't like to be bossed around by myself. I don't know, it's very silly. But all that to say, I thought about it, and I've had a long list of things that I want to do in a day. And so I took some of those things and I put them in the rituals. So for instance, I have reading time at night so that I can read books and not be on a screen. And that is so exciting. And it has still been a transition to make that a priority. Probably I would say out of 4 days, I've done it twice. But I'm continuing, like it's the spot is there, and I'm continuing to look at what excuses come up when I don't do it. And I'm working towards making time for that because that's something that I really want. So there's no reason to rebel against that. But the funny thing is about my rebellion is that the amount of rebellion is in direct proportion to how much I really want to do something. So it's almost like this, oh, so you want to do that? I'll fix you. So the more closely related it is for me to become a more happy, grounded person, the more resistance I have. I have this inner rebel child that I'm working with. So that's the evening ritual. But the morning ritual I'm super excited about because I had a really bad habit of taking my phone with me in the morning wherever I went, and not to be TMI, but that included, potty breaks. And I could see how in the morning, one wrong click and I was like, my mood was just for the rest of the day. So I said, in my waking routine, which is about 3.5 hours, it's very interesting. So the way I set up my day starts from the minute that my alarm goes off until the minute that I start working. And so, long story long, sorry, this is going to be a fast one, but I'm super excited. So I said no phones until I start working. So until 9 a.m. in the morning, I'm not supposed to have my phone unless I'm doing a live video. So that's my exception. So what I replaced it with, because what I learned is I have to replace my bad habits with a good one. So on my list of things I really want is to read poetry. So I have poetry books in the bathroom now. And I can tell you that reading poetry in the morning instead of looking at my phone, brilliant changes. So amazing, so beautiful. Now, I like poetry. If you don't like poetry, I'm not telling you to read poetry, right? This is about what you love. So you might be able to take the phone wherever you go and look at beautiful pictures or listen to beautiful music and avoid the news and all the silly things that are out there on social media. Excuse me, froggy throat. So, all that to say, I have started reading poetry. I've also started breathing. I have a breathing practice. Okay, and let me just say that for a person who smoked for almost the entire majority of their lives, what I realized was that I was trying to breathe. I was or avoiding taking life in fully. Okay, so smoking made me breathe deeper, but it kind of thwarted the purpose of a breath, which is to get more oxygen, right? So I was putting in all these non-oxygenating substances into my lungs when I took a deep breath, because it's that inner rebel is what I'm calling it, but it's self-sabotage, basically, right? So what I really want, I don't allow myself to have, because on some level, I don't believe I'm worthy of it. So at my very basic level, I didn't believe that I was worthy of enough oxygen to be healthy. Very sad, but very liberating to break that cycle finally, because when I realized that for me, smoking was about breathing and taking life in and being afraid to feel the full extent of life, it changed everything. So since I quit smoking, I have been working to feel and experience all of life, the ups and the downs, because a lot of us, we live here. Because if you want to feel this, you also have to feel this way down here where you can't see, right? So a lot of us stay right here, like neutral. We ride around in neutral because then we can avoid the pain. We're so afraid of the pain that we don't ever really get to experience the joy. So this is my mission. This is why I keep coming to talk to you and tell you about what I'm learning, because I know that so many of us feel the same way, because honestly, the world is kind of set up for us to do that to ourselves. So, poetry. My favorite poet, and I don't care what anybody says, is Mary Oliver. She's a nature poet. Obviously, you can see why I would resonate with a nature poet. And so when I was thinking this morning that I wanted to come and talk to you about breathing, I remembered, and this was like the signature line on my email for a long time, irony. There's a line from one of her poems, and I'm going to read you part of the poem today. Not the whole thing, it's really long. I'm going to read up to this line. But the line is, and I want to say it right, listen, are you breathing just a little and calling it a life? I had to spend 10 minutes calming myself down so I could talk to you. And I will be doing really good if I read this part of the poem to you without crying. I read it again today. Like, I went and looked up the poem because I'm like, I have to see that whole poem. And then I was like, wow, this is a really long poem. But that one line, that encompasses everything I want to tell you today. Listen. It's so interesting. Listen. Are you breathing just a little and calling it a life? Why listen? Because you have to go inside to hear yourself breathing, unless you have a cold, right? Breathing is silent, so you have to listen. Am I breathing just a little bit? So many of us are shallow breathers, and we don't realize it. Okay, so I'm going to read you this poem, and then I'll let you go. But it is my birthday, so thank you for hanging out with me longer. The poem is called, I'm going to try this. Have you ever tried to enter the long black branches? by Mary Oliver. Okay. Have you ever tried to enter the long black branches of other lives? Tried to imagine what the crisp fingers full of honey hanging from the branches of the young locust trees in early morning feel like? Do you think this world was only an entertainment for you? Never to enter the sea and notice how the water divides with perfect courtesy to let you in. Never to lie down on the grass as though you were the grass. Never to leap to the air as you open your wings over the dark acorn of your hurt. No wonder we hear in your mournful voice the complaint that something is missing from your life. Who can open the door who does not reach for the latch? Who can travel the miles who does not put one foot in front of the other, all attentive to what presents itself continually? Who will behold the inner chamber who has not observed with admiration, even with rapture, the outer stone? Well, there is time left. Fields everywhere invite you into them. And who will care? Who will chide you if you wander away from wherever you are to look for your soul? Quickly then, get up, put on your coat, leave your desk. To put one's foot into the door of the grass, which is the mystery, which is death as well as life, and not be afraid. To set one's foot in the door of death and be overcome with amazement. To sit in front of the weeds and imagine God the 10-fingered sailing out of his house of straw, nodding this way and that to the flowers of the present hour, to the song falling out of the mockingbird's pink mouth, to the tippets of the honeysuckle that have opened in the night. To sit down like a weed among weeds and rustle in the wind. Listen. Are you breathing just a little and calling it a life? I hope Mary Oliver isn't really disappointed with me that I did not read the whole poem. But I love to stop there, like the pregnant pause and the call to action. That's the part I want you to hear today. It's on the internet. You can look it up. I love it. Thank you for letting me share Mary Oliver with you today on my birthday. Thank you for letting me share me in general with you any day. I love you so much. I appreciate you so much. And I want you to love and appreciate you too. You have a wonderful Wednesday. And I will see you again really soon. Mwah. Have a great day.